Hello, everybody. Welcome back here to my podcast. I want to talk about energetic blocks, but in the major systems, not just specifically a block in your stomach or your knee. I'm talking about the major systems in our bodies that we all have. The first one I want to speak about is the cardio system, the heart and all the running of the heart, and to a degree the blood as well, because the heart runs the blood. You might find that you have high blood pressure or you have some heart issues. Perhaps you've even had a little bit of heart damage. And I think that when you have that, then it's a good idea to have a look at the fact that you've probably got an energetic block in the cardio system. So when you do your release work, that's where you want to go. No system will be unwell unless it's got a block in it. That's what I've just found out. And I always think that if we get rid of the energetic block, then the physicality of that system and the emotional part and the mental part, all the parts of that system will be improved. You don't have to know whether it's an emotional, mental, psychological block. It's handy, and if you can ask with your pendulum and get the information on that, that's great. Or if you can use kinesiology and do muscle testing on that. However, just realizing that if there's a problem in any part of your heart or cardio, that you've probably got a block somewhere, is all you have to do is work on it, do your modalities we've talked about so many times, and tap it out, do some work with meditation, do some breath work to release it, use your pendulum to release it, whatever the methods are that you tend to resonate with and work with you, but you need to get the block out. And that's the most important thing, that somewhere the block was formed. I can usually go back with people, and with myself, and check when it formed. So there's like no block when they're 20, 30, 40, 50, and then I hit 55, and then boom, here's the block. And the block will just increase as time goes on and get bigger and bigger and bigger, and then it manifests problems. The other big one is the digestive system. This is because how we digest things on all levels. So there's often blocks here. They're usually emotional, I feel, because we can't digest it or we can't handle it, and mentally as well. And so you might find when you do this work, you're doing a block that perhaps you have trouble with your bowel, maybe you have trouble with, you've had an ulcer, you might have trouble just with your general digestion. It could be your liver, but there will be a block, there will be an energetic block in that system. So you go and do the same thing and you release it. The digestive system has its own little nervous system as well, and you might want to do some work on that. I think it's called the enteric. I think I've said that right. And you can check that out as well, because that runs the system. Having digestive problems is really difficult to live, especially people who have Crohn's and colitis. People who have serious illness that interrupts them being able to go out or do things. So I'll always find there's a block there. Sometimes it can be an emotion. Often with those ones it'll be anger, and sometimes it'll be fear. But however it goes in your body or someone else's, the most important thing is to release that block. And when the block goes, then the body can settle and start to flow properly, because it interrupts the flow, particularly with the digestion. There's also the urinary system, and if you're having any problems in that area, you get a lot of bladder infections or troubles with your kidney, there will be a block in the actual system as well. Fear is very implicated with the urinary system, and in Chinese medicine, fear is the kidney and the bladder meridians. So that might be something you might want to tap on. So you tap on the energetic block there, then perhaps go and do another tap or release work on the fear. Fear is huge there, and terror. If you've had a difficult or traumatic life, there might be terror existing there, and that will shut the system down. The respiratory system is another one, and people who have asthma or a tendency to get a lot of flus and colds and coughing, and people who have sinus, that will all be in that system. That system is quite delicate. It can be affected by hay fever as well and allergens in the air. However, if you've got an energetic block, it's going to make that system run poorly. So once that block is removed by your release work, then the whole system should be able to run better. These blocks are huge and they affect everything. We can also have them in the nervous system. You might have a block in your nervous system. You've got a big trauma or fright, and there will be a block there. So don't forget the nervous system, because that's quite a huge system in which we feel and how we react to life. With some people who have blood diseases or have leukemia or any of the blood type based illnesses, there will also be a block there. Once you start working on this, you will start to improve your health when you start removing the blocks. If you don't know where the block is, just do them all. So if you're unsure, do the ones where we all know where we have trouble with it. We usually know if it's digestive or we've got high blood pressure, or if it's that we urinary problems. We usually know which system it probably is. However, we can be surprised sometimes. If you want to be very sure, just do the release work, write the list down, and then gradually just release the block, release the block, release the block. It's just energy, so it will release off the aura. It'll take a bit of time sometimes, and I usually go back. I'll do my work, then I'll go back and do another session, and then during the next week or two, I'll just keep going back. I check it with kinesiology to see if the block's still there or there's some of it left, because some of these blocks will be massive, and because they're being built up and built up. And unfortunately, if they keep building and building, they will manifest into serious illness. I think sometimes the cancers are due to the block in some of the systems, and of course the heart problems, when people actually have strokes or don't have a heart attack, it's because the block has become too severe, too big, and now it's manifesting in the physical world. Your life will be better without these blocks. I think this is a very good find. I was pretty excited when they told me all about this, and I went tracking around and checking myself, of course, and doing my work, and then I went and tracked around at different people to see if I was getting that information, was the correlation was right. So if I knew someone had high blood pressure, I'd go and check in the cardio system, and yes, it was always a block. And the block varied from, a smallish block to a really big one. I think that this work will make you better. I'm hoping it makes me better in my little areas that I worked on. And these energetic blocks, because we can't see them, and because they are by their very nature blocks, they're going to make it hard for us to even think about them, I suppose. And that's why I'm doing this podcast around blocks, because if you just be told about a block, it makes you think, well, maybe I've got one. And then if you are intuitive enough, or you can find out where it is, you can do the work. I also send healing to release blocks in other people. I think that's a good thing to do. It's a kind thing to do. If you know someone who's got some problems in their digestion, you can actually send them a healing, or actually do some work on them, some absent work, some tapping on them, because you can do tapping absently. I also use my pendulum to release it from them, or ask their guides to release it. And then hopefully without the block, their health will improve as well. Where we are getting sick, where we're having trouble, is our greatest sign. There will usually be a block there. Sometimes when we do this work, it'll take a while to manifest into the real world. Energy work sort of has to download and change, because what you're doing is you're shifting the energy of the aura. It's like spring cleaning. You have to clean it out, then it has to readjust, and then you have to keep cleaning it out. And it'll take a while, and if the block's very big, it's going to take some time to actually leave the aura and be released and to go. This was interesting for me. It was exciting. I think it's going to help you. I know it's going to help me. And I think it's going to help other people that you send this healing to, or if you have some spiritual friends and you can speak to them about it. For example, your friend might be complaining about something, and you say to her, well, maybe you've got a block in that actual system. You could probably go and do some work on that. Have fun with your blocks this week. Have fun getting rid of them. I think it's always good to get rid of these blocks. You might have a sense when the block was set in place. With one of mine, it was when I didn't have the block. I went 10, 20, 30, that's how I do it. I'll go 10, 20, 30, 40, keep checking till I hit the number when the block's there, and then you can either back off and get the exact time, especially with kinesiology. You can ask the body when, and it'll tell you the time. I found it exciting because then I realised I didn't have it, but then at 55, by 55 I had the beginning of one of my blocks. Then I realised why, and I could tie it into what was happening in my life and why I set the block up. Then I could release it. Knowing when your block starts, actually quite good, because you have more knowledge about yourself, and the release work you do is, I feel, more powerful because you know exactly where you're going, you know where it was and why it was, and then you release it. It'll also stop you from resetting yourself and putting the block back. And tell yourself when you do this work, I will not put this block back, I don't need it anymore. Because we have a tendency to want to put them back because they were used to protect us. So have that as a mantra you have. I'm doing this work, I will not put this block back. And if I start to put the block back, I will feel it. And then you just go back and do the work again. It'll be something for you to do, some new process for you to learn this week. And I think you will have great success with it. And I think your health will be better. And then your well-being is better. And then your life is better. Sending you lots of love and light and no blocks.